Notice, the Uniform Law Commission will vote on its draft of the Uniform Regulation of Virtual Currency Act at its annual meeting in San Diego on the 14th of July, which is less than just 8 days away. If this is passed, then this may be the legal framework that will regulate virtual currency in every state of the United States of America and for years to come. Maybe this is why blockchain laws are being rushed in Delaware and Illinois, and SWIFT is ramping up. What does this mean for the people of America? What does this mean for the business of blockchain? And in a decentralized world where it doesn't even matter, why does it matter? And what can we do about it? Let's discuss. Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together, welcome to Minting Coins. So this is really crazy news coming out. In yesterday's video we were talking about states rushing to get legislation passed. We saw that Delaware and Illinois rushing to get these laws passed for some reason, skipping normal vacation time and other tasks that they have to get done to focus on cryptocurrency and to focus on cryptocurrency laws and getting those cryptocurrency laws enacted. But why the rush? Well, today we come to find out that in less than 8 days away, that the ULC is going to be meeting, and this organization is going to be delivering and voting on its draft law legislation for these folks, these representatives, to take this legislation and bring it back to all the different states in America, all the different districts in America that don't have laws around blockchain and cryptocurrency, and use this as the template for law in every state in America as a basis of operating. And so this is just the storm before the storm, if you will. This is the law and the regulation that's going to be paving the foundation, laying the groundwork for Bitcoin and blockchain technology, for Bitcoin and blockchain companies to have some ground to stand on in America. But the real question is, what kind of ground is that going to be? How is that ground going to be structured? And is that ground going to be an even level playing field for all the different constituents who are involved in this decentralized world of equality and decentralized trust and decentralized security? It's very interesting stuff. So with that being said, let's take a quick peek at the market and pop into the news, and we have a lot to discuss. Okay, so here, where are we? Okay, so here we have the cryptocurrency market cap roundup from coinmarketcap.com, and we have Bitcoin hovering around $2,600, Ethereum $269, Litecoin still over $50 and staying even, Ethereum Classic still low. I'm really expecting Ethereum Classic to pop. It's been low for a really long time, and I know they have some developments coming out, especially once that news really penetrates the whole cryptocurrency market, that that it's going to have a limited supply, and once that happens, you know, that's going to be an opportunity waiting to happen. But with that being said, Dash has been doing well, staying over the $200 mark. And what else do we have? And Monero's been on a very steady rise, flirting with that $50 price range. So moving on, before we get into the news, I just wanted to show you guys this email that I got and these Slack notifications that I've been getting. And so, as you can imagine, I'm a part of a lot of Telegram groups, and I'm a part of a lot of Slack channels, and this is what the cryptocurrency community is using, is Slack and Telegram. And so in there, what's happening is this: My Ether wallet is the go-to tool that everybody is really using to interact with the Ethereum blockchain and all of these different tokens that are on the Ethereum blockchain. And so My Ether wallet has been a focus of attention for hackers and for phishers in trying to steal your private keys. So this is a security warning. This is a security alert that hackers are trying to steal your private keys, and they're trying to pretend that they're the Monaco bot or the Gollum bot, or a helper in the Chrono Bank, or just all these different Slack channels that are out there. Just literally every single one of them, this has been coming out. And so in this example, I look at this and I instantly see scam, and but not everybody else sees that. And what they're doing in here, let's break it down. They're using fear, uncertainty, and doubt to get you to take a quick action, to click on a link. Don't ever click on a link in your email, and to then visit this website, which probably looks identical to My Ether wallet, and then to pop in your private keys, which they're recording, and then they can have access to all your funds and transfer your funds out. So it says, please be advised that we are experiencing some errors with the MCO tokens network. Please visit My Ether wallet to check your token balance and update your contract. Failure to do so may result in a loss of your MCO tokens. Thank you for your cooperation and understanding. Scary stuff. It sounds very scary that there's some errors in the network, and that you want to check your balance to make sure everything is okay. People are just checking their balances religiously anyway, so they may just click on this. And let's see here, I can sort of show you in this window, in this area right here of your browser, if you're not aware, if you hover over the link, you can potentially see that it says myetherwallet.com.im. And so this .com.im, it's really a .im domain name, and this is a scam site trying to steal your private keys. So this is just a public service warning to not click on links, to be very cautious about what you read, to have those radars up, to be sensing, the spidey sense for the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt, the hype. Are people toying with your emotions to try to get you to take an action that is not going to serve your long-term interests or your short-term interests? And so just be aware that that is happening. And so why is that happening? That's happening because this is becoming big. People are getting involved in cryptocurrency. People are hearing about all these ICOs. They're hearing about Bitcoin more and more. They're hearing about Ethereum, and it's looking super sexy because that $269 price tag is a lot sexier of a number than the $2,600, right? You could just get almost 10 times as much with the Ethereum, and so the average user might not be looking at the utility or the market dynamics or the inflation or the application, but they're just seeing it as a currency. They're seeing it as a cheaper price tag. They're hearing everybody talk about it, and so the question is out there: is Ethereum getting ready for mass adoption? With Delaware, Illinois, with the ULC, with all these countries of the world creating acceptance and paving a path for blockchain companies and for users of cryptocurrencies to interact with each other, is this bottle of champagne, is this rocket ship about to pop and blast off straight into orbit? We are going to find out. And so thinking about the mainstream application and what's going on, either with the ICOs, the companies, the different applications that are happening with blockchain technology, the laws that are being enacted, the movement that's happening with countries across the world, what does mainstream application mean? everything right now is just laying down the roads and the railroad tracks and the asphalt, but it's not big until there's a mall. It's not big until there's a movie theater. It's not big until there's reasons for people to go. And so this article from Cointelegraph is just saying the internet didn't go mainstream the moment Tim Berners-Lee developed a hypertext transfer protocol, HTTP. It went mainstream when search engines like Google or social networks like Facebook and email services like AOL were introduced. And that's what's going to happen. You know, we have this exuberance in the ICO space. We have all of these different companies coming out of nowhere, making a ton of money. We know a percentage of them are going to fail simply because of the bell curve. But on the same bell curve, we know that some of these businesses are going to experience wild success. And they're going to play critical roles in the future of the blockchain, in the future of the new internet, this new supercomputer that they call Ethereum, and the cryptocurrencies that people use to trade value, most prominently Bitcoin, but also Litecoin, Dash, Monero. A lot of these others are going to be major players, and that's not even considering the applications that are going to be built on top, the chat services, the messaging services, the merchant services. There's so much connectivity that's going to happen. You know, when you think about, first we have the real world, and then we have the internet, which is the digital representation of the real world. But now we're going to have the blockchain, which is the trusted in-between of the internet and the physical world in which we all exist. And so amazing times are ahead of us. And in terms of the amazing times, in terms of the adoption, in terms of the laws, we have other organizations like the Ethereum or the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. And so this alliance is really gathering and connecting and educating Fortune 500 companies, the biggest, the brightest, the most elite companies of the world. Companies like Microsoft, JP Morgan, Credit Suisse, Intel, so many others that are collaborating, that are talking, that are testing, that are building. And when they're ready, these applications are going to be rolled out. And they're not going to be rolled out, in my opinion, from their perspective, until they have the laws throughout all 50 states where they'll have the safety and security for their shareholders to trust that they're going to be able to run their business plans and execute against their business plans to meet their objectives in a way that's going to be in line with the districts and jurisdictions in which they're operating. And so this is all part of the plan. This is all part of the big picture. This is not crypto anarchy. And while that is a preference of a lot of people, and if that's a preference of yours, then there's people that we can contact. There's there's legislators that you can contact. There's ways to have your voice heard, to express that there's a better way of governing these laws and governing these technologies. Because as it is now, this is the platform that's going down. And so this gets us into the main article for the show. And so here we have the uniform regulation for virtual currency businesses. This uniform regulation is coming to a state near you if it's not already in your state. So if you're in New York State, you may be very familiar with this. And because in New York State, which is where we have NASDAQ and Wall Street, we have what we call the BIT license. And this BIT license makes it very difficult to transact with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency as a blockchain business that wants to purchase Bitcoin for somebody. Because if you want to purchase Bitcoin for somebody or trade Bitcoin for somebody or anything of that nature, then you need to be licensed in the state, which is expensive, timely, difficult, and makes it so someone like me in New York State is not authorized to buy Bitcoin for you. If someone is interested in consulting with me and talking about Bitcoin and blockchain technology, then I can teach them or educate them or let them know simply what the facts are. But in terms of buying the Bitcoin, all I can do is send them to Coinbase with my affiliate link and let them know if they're interested, then that's where they can purchase it, because Coinbase is licensed and not me in New York. So the Uniform Law Commission is going to be voting on its draft of this uniform virtual currency in San Diego on July 14th. And so the current date of the proposal is a product of 6 meetings, 14 letters, and input from the U.S. Treasury Department, the Conference of State Bank Supervisors, authorities from relevant state agencies in California, Texas, Washington, and also the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. So typically the ULC requires the Draft Uniform Act to be voted on and approved at 2 consecutive annual meetings, but the drafting committee has noted the need to act quickly. And this is because the various state legislators already have bills that would move forward with laws that would regulate virtual currencies and virtual currency businesses. So let's see, what did I wanted to show you? So let's get into what the Uniform Law Commission is. So the Uniform Law Commission, otherwise known as the ULC, also known as the National Conference of Commissioners on Uniform State Laws, is a nonprofit American unincorporated association. It was established in 1892 in order to create some sort of consensus among states where it was really difficult to have common laws across many different states very quickly. They didn't have things like the internet or widely circulated telephone systems, or I'm not even sure what that method was, but it was much slower than it is now for them to collaborate. And so this really helped create uniform laws throughout all 50 states so that a business that operated in one state could operate in all the other states without having to worry that there were going to be drastically different laws between states inside the United States of America. So with the rushing of the Uniform Law Commission and them rushing to get this act voted on, it sort of made sense at first why in yesterday's video we saw that that Delaware was rushing to get their legislation passed. All of a sudden they were rushing to get these cryptocurrency laws and legislation passed in Delaware, and it sort of makes sense because Delaware is the state for corporations, for incorporating your corporation no matter where you are in the United States. More than likely your corporation is probably a Delaware corporation. But it didn't make sense why Illinois was rushing to get their legislation passed so quickly. So I was doing the research for the show, going through the Wikipedia page for the Uniform Law Commission page, and then I see here that the ULC is actually headquartered in Chicago, Illinois. So very, very interesting. And so maybe the legislators in Illinois realized what was going to be coming down the pipeline with the ULC, and they just recognized that they wanted to get their state laws, their state affairs, their business at home in order before they send their people off to make the recommendations for the rest of the state. So interesting stuff, if you ask me. Last couple things I wanted to note on the Wikipedia page is that first it's here that it must be emphasized that the ULC can only propose and that no uniform law is effective until a state legislator adopts it. At the same time, it's also on this Wikipedia page that each act must be considered section by section and at no less than 2 annual meetings by all the commissioners sitting at the committee as a whole. Yet they are skipping this rule because as the other article is pointing out, they're rushing to get this passed because there's so many other states that are just making laws. It's interesting stuff. Why the sudden rush to make this happen? It's why all the news that's happening with the major corporations, with the Fortune 500 corporations, with the financial technology companies, with all the extra attention from industry leaders, with all the extra attention from mainstream media and CNBC and Fox News. It's there's a lot happening, everybody. All right, so back to the article at CoinDesk. So there's a section at CoinDesk that's talking about the UCC Article 8. And so this part in red here is just talking to the point that Coinbase at Coinbase.com strongly objects to the Act's mandate that the UCC Article 8 law be applied to virtual currencies and virtual businesses. And Coinbase is against the UCC Article 8 because they're saying that they don't want the additional regulation, and they're saying it won't be good for how it's going to affect other blockchain businesses as a whole. Yet let's read what Article 8 is according to this article. So if Article 8 is applied to virtual currency transactions, this means that if you buy a Bitcoin and the seller, unbeknownst to you, is granted a lien on that Bitcoin to a creditor. So let's break this down. So if Minting Coins is selling Bitcoins, if we get a bit license and we're in the business of selling Bitcoins, and you purchase 10 Bitcoins from us, and they're each $10,000, and so that's $100,000 in Bitcoins, like crazy, right? And so you give me $100,000, and then I'm holding your 10 Bitcoins, and then I use the 10 Bitcoin as collateral for a loan. So now I get a loan for, say, $80,000, and then I default in that loan and I don't pay that loan back. Well, the creditor, let's say the creditor is a bank, and so you buy the Bitcoins from me, and I am holding your Bitcoins for you in my website, in my safe, and now I don't pay the creditor back, and so the creditor is coming to collect this Bitcoin, even though it's your Bitcoin, it's in my safe. This is saying that the creditor, if Section 8 is applied, that the creditor cannot seek to get the Bitcoin from you. So they cannot take your Bitcoin. And Coinbase is strongly objecting to this mandate, again, arguing that it would invoke a distinct body of law not well developed in our field, which would complicate future application. Maybe that's true, that it would complicate future application. It also sounds like it could potentially screw over a lot of consumers who, purchase Bitcoin from a company like Coinbase, and if Coinbase was on the hook to pay back that loan. Last note with this article coming from CoinDesk.com, there is the disclosure noted that CoinDesk is a subsidiary of the Digital Currency Group, which has a ownership stake in Coinbase.com. So let's talk about this a little bit more. So let's move over to news.bitcoin.com. And news.bitcoin.com has some information from this gentleman, Theo Chino, who has been battling the New York State bit license that we were talking about earlier. And so he's been fighting this, and he's really trying to get this heard, to get the laws changed in New York State, because they're just, what most would describe as not fair for the average business that wants to operate because of the level of regulation that it's adding with the technology that the regulators seemingly didn't completely understand. And ignored some of the leading information that was presented from the experts about how the technology actually even works. So he's fighting the good fight. So what do we have here? So the act, so let's talk about the act. So the act is going to require businesses and individuals to apply for a license in whatever state or district enacts this legislation, if approved in 8 days, if the business or the individual falls into any one of these 3 categories. So these 3 categories are: 1, the exchanging of virtual currencies for cash, bank deposits, or other virtual currencies. So if you're the exchange, I don't know, it's kind of ambiguous to me, because I mean this could apply to a person. So and the way these laws work, if the bit license says it is if you're exchanging money, you have to have a license, but if you're transacting purchasing goods and services, then it is legal. But if you just add one word and say it is not legal, then very easily the laws can evolve to be much better or much worse. And so it's very ambiguous if and who this is going to affect, especially down the line, because this is just a template that each individual state would be able to make further modifications on top of it. So the exchange, so 1 is the exchange of virtual currencies for cash, bank deposits, other virtual currencies. The second is to transfer from one customer to another person of virtual currencies. I sort of interpret that as like a third-party situation. So if you're transferring from one customer to another customer, again, it's a little ambiguous. Or certain custodial or fiduciary services in which the property or the asset under the custodian's control or under the management include the property or asset recognized as virtual currency. Simply recognizing that the virtual currency is an asset that a fiduciary has a legal obligation to sort of protect. Again, a little ambiguous. Wait till I show you. The actual act is just like mind-numbing, like most of these laws are. These guys don't even read these half the time. All right, so what can we do about it? And so where does this leave us right now? So we have these laws coming down the pipeline, and the people in the space know that no matter what the laws say and what the laws do, there are ways to get around the laws. There are other decentralized services that can help operate, that can just simply operate, that can allow you to buy and sell Bitcoin, that can allow you to buy and sell cryptocurrencies and totally not even have to involve a third party who's pro-Bitcoin or a third party who's anti-Bitcoin. It's just no third party. These are completely decentralized exchanges that anyone is going to be able to use. There's all these decentralized websites that are going to be popping up like no one can even believe yet. I mean, people are just registering these ENS domain names and doing all this cool stuff on the Ethereum network. There's going to be so much decentralization that is going to be impossible to get around. So on one hand, does any of this matter? Or does none of this matter because it's just a decentralized world and the genie is out of the box? At the same time, it's really difficult for the masses and for good people who follow the laws, right? People like you and I that want to follow the law and do what's right. We want for ourselves and for our families to have the best laws, I suppose, or the best policies that are going to help us succeed and just not help everybody else succeed and help everyone else take advantage of the masses. And so what can we do about it? Let's take a look. So Chino is saying that Bitcoiners can contact the chairperson of the ULC, Richard Cassidy of Vermont, and ask him to not present the virtual currency framework. And further, as heads through all the other different state legislators and the legislation in your state, no matter what stage of legislation it's at, even if it's New York State and you already have a BIT license, you can contact your congresspeople and you can make your voice heard wherever you are a citizen of, wherever you reside. Yeah, and so with the video and the show notes, I'm going to be including this link to this Reddit post that has this additional information posted by Theo, and information of the people that you can contact, including Richard Cassidy, and simply ask him to not present the act as this time. So that's all Chino is asking folks to do who believe in this and who care about this and who want more time for the important information to reach the people who are making this decision, that we can call Richard Cassidy and simply ask him to not present the act at this time. I'll also be including a link to the Uniform Law Commission website, and here you'll be able to get the description overview of the Regulation of Virtual Currency Businesses Act, as well as all the different information that's been posted about this that they have listed on this webpage for this website, including the committee members, information, and the like. And then lastly, I'll also have a direct link to the draft proposal for approval of the Uniform Regulation of Virtual Currency Business Act from the National Conference of Commissioners of the Uniform State Laws. So this is happening again in San Diego, California. In just 8 days, July 14th. This will be voted on as soon as July 14th. Could be as late as July 20th, I suppose. And yep, this is it. So this is just a table of contents here. And so we have 65 pages and there's a couple pictures, not very many. So, but then it's a lot of text. It's a lot of long text, and it's a lot to go through. And it's a lot to read, and it's really interesting how they have the definition section. If you ever go through these sorts of documents, they have the definition section, and there's just section after section of what this means and how it's going to work and what the rules are and what the consequences are, and who's in charge and who's on first. And let me tell you, Bitcoin's not on second. Bitcoin is on every single base that there is. And at the same time, Bitcoin is on no base. And that's because Bitcoin is everywhere and Bitcoin is nowhere, as is Ether and the Ethereum blockchain. This is a global cryptocurrency community. This is an unstoppable force of privacy and decentralization and security for decentralized peer-to-peer trust, for decentralized peer-to-peer cash, for decentralized peer-to-peer communication. And that's what we have with Bitcoin and blockchain technology. Whatever the laws are and end up being in America, we have a long way to go. And even the worst laws can change for the better over time. I mean, let it be that the prohibition was a good law or a bad law. Liquor was illegal for I think about 10 years or so, and eventually that got overturned. And it's really interesting to see how the prohibition really created a lot of things like NASCAR, and really created a lot of innovation and really brought out a lot of creativity, and really added to the economy, and really added to the culture, and really added to the world that we have today. Although I hope we don't have a prohibition on Bitcoin for 10 years. That would probably send the price to the moon. But yeah, perhaps we should just call our legislators, call the commissioner of these organizations that are making these laws, have our voice be heard, learn about this information, share this information, because we need to understand what's going on. Because for better or for worse, when these laws get enacted, we need to understand what the truth is, and we don't just blindly accept what we're being told. Just like when we receive that email from those spammers, we can't just receive that email and blindly accept what it is that we're being told. We need to stop and we need to think for ourselves, to recognize the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt, and also the hope and the inspiration to connect with what our truth is and what the truth of the blockchain is. And hopefully we can all be on the same page. So with that being said, tap that like button, share your comments below. Let me know what you think about this legislation, this act, the ULC, and let me know if you know, are you gonna place a phone call? Are you gonna send an email? Are you gonna ask that this bill not be presented for a vote? Share your thoughts below, and we'll discuss more in the comments there. So until then, I'm glad we're minting coins, and thank you.